Well, I want to start talking about Leeds United. Obviously, won on Monday night. They've got their Premier League campaign off to a winning start. Yet another promoted side has 3 points.
Well, two. There's two in total
on the board. Yes,
there's two in total.
Another one. Yeah.
Yet another. Feels like they're coming around all like
compared to
Formula One cars going past.
Well, it's the first time since 21-22, and only the third time ever that two promoted teams have won their opening match. Mm-hmm. So I think that's noteworthy, Vish.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
It's definitely particularly noteworthy given that we spent quite a large portion of the second half of last season on the mailbag, particularly talking about this trend that we're thinking might have happened, where promoted teams are going to find it really hard to deliver. And I think it's October last year was the first time any promoted side won in the Premier League. So it's a massive difference.
So the curse is lifted.
Well,
easy street now.
We'll see. Oh, what I would say to those promoted teams is relax now.
Yeah.
You cracked it.
Done the hard
work.
Not
you, Burnley.
But it was a good start. It was good to see Ellen Road rocking. Was it not, Vish? Or are you of the Manchester United Gary Neville school of thought in that it is a fan base, the fan base that you wouldn't want to get anywhere near?
Can it be both?
Yeah. And also,
I think it can.
If you need a measure of how boring Gary Neville is, if I said to you, guys, Gary Neville got caught on a hot mic, you'd be hoping for more than that, wouldn't you?
I don't know.
It's like
not by Sky's previous standards.
So
I think they were happy with that.
I have to explain.
Okay.
Because not everybody has Sky. Not everybody lives in this country.
True.
Not everybody's hooky feed might have been working that well.
Yeah.
So, yes, Gary Neville was caught on a hot mic where, as they came back from the break, he said, it's the one group of supporters that I wouldn't want to get anywhere near.
Yeah.
And then he went, and he made a bit of a joke of it. And let's be honest, I think we all knew that anyway, really, didn't we?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's not exactly the most controversial thing for a lifelong Man United player to say.
He's got to go to Ellen Road this season.
Yeah, that's true.
There was
a bit of illness.
Oh, wait, what are you thinking, pay-per-view? I'll pay.
Yeah.
There was a comment under someone's video of this that was doing the rounds. The video doing the rounds, and the comment under the one I saw was, "I've always thought he was a from a Leeds United fan," and it was like, "This is the thing that did it."
Yeah, right. Yeah,
was it?
Yeah. Yeah. I thought he handled it quite well.
That's pushed me over the edge of that.
Yeah, I mean, it is as Luke said, it is to be expected of someone who played his entire career for Manchester United and is a Manchester United fan.
Yes.
I mean, it's very, very poor discipline from a serious seasoned broadcaster.
Sure,
I mean, we should let that pass.
But if you think of you would think of it the other way. Like you wouldn't get like a famous Leeds United player. I don't know whether it was like Cantona, Rio Ferdinand, Alan Smith. You wouldn't get any of them, coming over to Manchester United. So it's fine.
Yeah.
You also wouldn't get anyone who's employed by Sky Sports saying anything they shouldn't do in a Sky Sports studio. When they thought they weren't on air.
Especially when they've got rid of all the dark forces.
Yeah.
Maybe Gary Neville was just trying to relax Jamie Carragher.
There's the erection again.
But one thing Gary Neville did say, that he very much felt that Leeds United deserved to be awarded that penalty.
Which was a really strange take.
Yeah, and look, this has been... I think refereeing decisions already in the Premier League, there was a handful of them on the opening weekend, have been kind of scrutinised. I felt that Fulham should have been given a penalty overturned with VAR.
Bournemouth
handball, which is perhaps I should have opened with that. There was a few, and this one caused a lot of division. Also, the free kick at Eze at Chelsea as well. We're already inundated with refereeing.
It's almost
decisions.
like the laws of the game don't really work as advertised.
Yeah, I suppose the Eze one with the free kick is different because it was an application of a law that does exist.
The Victorian bylaw that we
exactly. Yeah.
It's like killing a Welshman with a crossbow on a Sunday
yeah.
outside a church.
Yeah, well, that kind of
one
stuff.
of those unknown
Hartlepool Town
laws.
Centre.
Yeah, but the thing is, that's the problem, isn't it? I think sometimes with the application of a law that does exist, the criticism from other fan bases is, you didn't do this last week, you didn't do this the week before. And that's not actually necessarily an issue with the law itself.
I know what you mean.
That's a different type of complaint to, say, the Tarkowski thing. But before we get onto the Tarkowski thing, I think it's important to say that Leeds were pretty good.
Yes.
Like for the first half particularly.
Yeah.
It was like watching Championship Leeds.
Well, even Moyes said they were the better side.
And they were. And the only thing that was missing really was a kind of constant creation of high quality chances, because Pickford, it was one of those situations that you see in football a lot where a team are dominant but they don't create that many clear cut chances. And I think coming away from the game, which leads us on to this penalty decision, you feel a bit like Leeds have got out of jail there because they've got a generous decision, and it probably would have gone 0-0 had that not been the case, because, like I say, Leeds weren't carving anything out, and Everton, they look a little bit off it still. I thought they were quite defensively well organised, and I thought they set up in a way that you'd expect from a Moyes team away from home, but they weren't really in it. And so this decision takes on a far more seismic feel, because it was so important in the context of the game and the result.
Yeah, and I think Gary Neville's comment about Leeds deserving the decision was more that Leeds deserved a goal.
That's not how it works.
No, I know,
exactly. You played really well, but you haven't scored. It's a penalty.
Yeah, exactly. But that is the also to riff on something you said before about fans saying that it's about the decisions that you didn't give last week, the week before. I think it's taken on a completely different slant now, in that fans' complaints are that they know, like, we know you're not going to give that decision next week and the week after, because of that interpretation, as you say, that varies from.
But I'm talking about the Eze goal there, not the Tarkowski handball.
Sure, but I think that comes into it a bit, because I've been back and forth with it in my mind. At the time, I thought I would give that as a penalty. And then a couple of days later, on Tuesday, I rewatched it, and I was like, well, if he can't move towards the ball with his arm by his side, then do you just have to be set in that
That's
position?
the key point. I think, sorry, Max, I know you're going to come in. That's a really key point, and one that hasn't been said enough, and it's really important that you raise it, because in my view, what they've clearly done there is they've interpreted it saying, you're moving towards the ball, therefore you're intending to handball it, which obviously isn't the case. And as you say, you can't be in a situation where in the sport of football, you're going to start to tell players that in their own penalty area, they can't move towards the ball. I mean, it'd be a ridiculous sport if you did that. And I think the other thing that hasn't been mentioned, by the way, by anyone that I've seen, is no one's talked about the T-shirt law either. We've got a T-shirt rule in handball now. It came in a few years ago, where if it's the T-shirt line or above, it's not handball anyway.
Where does that work though? Because you and I have both rolled up our sleeves.
Exactly, and
I
mean
thought
to
the kit,
myself,
not T-shirt. I thought
they call it the T-shirt.
Oh, do they? Okay.
So basically, if you think of the silhouette of a T-shirt,
okay.
If it hits above the sleeve line, it's not handball anyway.
They have to say T-shirt, don't they? Because if it was the kit, then long sleeves
or a vest.
Yeah,
get a vest out on the Cameroon side that time. But look, I don't know. I can't physically remember whether the ball hit below the T-shirt line anyway, but it was pretty close. And then David Moyes said was absolutely true. What do you want me to do? What do you want him to do? Like, he's not got his arms out by his side.
But I understand why it was given as a pen, and obviously never.
But why do you though?
Because this is where I think that you have these. We want to make the laws of the game. If you do that, it's a penalty. We want to make it all kind of standardised, and quite clearly, in the general, that is the case. But it's in the specific case by case, and defenders. And I wonder if Tarkowski was doing this. Does he think, well, if I put my arms by my side like he did, then I can now make my body a bit bigger.
I don't think he's thinking that.
Well, but you could do
Which
that.
is what I thought at the time.
And if you look at it, he has time, I think, to kind of think.
No, because it's
that.
Deflected.
True, but it's almost a bit like it's a defender trying to gain an advantage. I
disagree.
In spirit, it's a bit like when we had that phase of strikers leaving a leg in, which they don't do so much now. We had to stamp that out. If you go, especially with the goalkeeper.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Yeah. You 50-50 with the goalkeeper, and you just think, I'll just knock the ball past him.
And like kind of boot it out of play, but leave my leg there,
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's in spirit, in feeling, it's kind of similar to that. A defender thinks, well, if I've got my hands behind my back, I can just bring the arms out a little bit. They're in a natural position, and I can fall into it, and it makes me a bit bigger. If that is the case, then it's a penalty.
But I think the reason I don't agree is because I don't think Tarkowski has any time to think, because if he does have time to think, he knows it's the kind of shot that Pickford saves a million times in a row.
So therefore it has to be taken on a case-by-case basis. So this idea, I get the arguments that his arms are down by his side, what do you want him to do, blah, 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 blah. Fine, but that still can be, if abused is the right word, or taken advantage of by a defender, because they could lean into it with the arms down by the side and make sure, oh, well, my arm will get that if my body doesn't. So I think we all want to kind of go, right, well, there's the rule. Now we know how to apply it. Boom. It's just not how so many of the laws and so many intricacies of football work.
I do agree with you. And I do feel a lot for fans who, not a specific set of fans, but just fandom in general, where you can choose. Certainly, I choose as a football fan to just kind of get on with refereeing decisions and kind of be annoyed in the moment, maybe 24 hours afterwards.
I'm kind of similar. Yeah.
Talk about it on here, whatever, and then kind of get on with my life.
But us mid-table Premier League sides don't really have to worry about.
Got other things to worry about.
I'd shake your hand on that. But more and more, it kind of just creeps into how we view football, full stop, like all of us. Yeah. And the idea that suddenly refereeing decisions or moments like that become snowflake decisions. Yeah. Everyone is slightly different and needs its own interpretation, which is not really the point of laws in sport.
I think sorry, Marcus, but I just think what underpins it, Vish, is actually that what we're living through in real time is just an incredible act of self-harm in undermining the game. Yeah.
I thought you were going back to Brexit there. Sorry.
No. Well, that is also the case. David Moyes' direct quote was, "Unless you cut the boy's hand off, I don't know where he goes." Well, first of all, if you cut his hand off, it's still handball.
Go back to that era.
It's still handball. It hit him in the arm, and now he's got no hand.
If your hand is causing you to sin or break the rules of the law, then you're better off cutting it off.
There you go. Yeah.
So Moyes is onto something there.
You're as medieval as he is.
Well, as Christian as he is. Well, anyway,
lovely bit of Old Testament Moyes there.
Yeah, exactly. That's my favourite kind of Moyes. Yeah. Absolutely. No, there's a lot of Old Testament about how he plays, how he sets his team up.
Post-match, though.
Yeah, his post-match. That was a vintage kind of grumbly Moyes.
I thought to myself, well, this is going to be good under Moyes.
But I think, sorry, Max, I was just going to say on that though, we're going to move on from the because I do think there's a big part of our listenership, and rightly so, who don't want to hear us bore on for 10 minutes about a decision that happened 2 days ago. I get it. So just on the Everton Moyes thing, I think one of the things that we have to mention is that it's the opening weekend of the season, and what that actually means is it's a bit of a crapshoot, actually. If you watch the Premier League opening weekend over the years, you don't read too much into these opening days.
Is that what Howard Webb and the referees are going to say?
I don't mean the references.
Chill out.
The referees should be good.
We got 37 more of these.
It's early days.
I mean
we got to do this until May.
I don't mean the referees. You'll forget about this, but I'll do another one next week. I mean the teams. So the fact that the promoted team's done well, and Everton didn't look like they did much. You don't know where they've been in terms of their pre-season. You don't know what their plans are to bring another player or two, and you don't really. Things haven't settled down yet. It's one of the effects of the transfer window still being open way after the season starts.
There's a lot of residual annoyance. You can imagine even Howard Webb's watching Monday's incident, going to Pogba, go and get Michael Owen.
Yeah, we need him.
Yeah. Well, they'll be in the studio a lot. Those two.
First time anyone's ever said we need Michael Owen.
That's not true.
Off the pitch.
Okay.
Yeah, that is true.
Jack Grealish made his debut for Everton. I did think to myself, come on, boy, start him.
No, he's never going to do that away from home.
I know, and that's why I wanted Leeds to win.
I can imagine David Moyes sitting down with Jack Grealish saying, look, we brought you in, but you are the type of player that I instinctively mistrust. So don't expect to start tomorrow. We'll see how we go.
He walks onto the training field. We'll pull those up for a start.
Yeah, right.
Grealish though, he looked like he it was only a short cameo, of course, and the game, as you say, was there wasn't much in it for him. But I think there was just early signs there, bit between his teeth, and he thought, right, I'm having this.
There was a bit. There was also a little moment where he does really well. They're on the break, and the ball gets played behind him, and he kind of turns to pick it up, and then shimmies with his back to whoever was trying to mark him, and gets past him, gets past someone else. And there was a moment he looked up and he went, "Oh, yeah, Haaland's not here, is it?"
Yeah.
Where are the other blokes? Oh, no, okay.
Yeah. There's no Erling.
I think he could be a really important signing for Everton, not just because of not because of the way you think, though. Look, it's possible that he goes in and he picks up huge amounts of assists and weighs in with goals and he shows his class and he finds his form. And I think everyone would like to see that. But I actually think there's a good chance that the reason he may turn out to be an important signing for Everton is a couple of other reasons.
Mention the new stadium.
Oh, Bramley Moor Dock.
That's what we've always got to do with Everton this season.
Yeah, okay, right.
They've got a new stadium.
They've got a new stadium.
Yeah.
Okay, so thanks. It's
good,
important to remember that. Mm-hmm. No, but I think the way they play, he is a player who can move them up the pitch. Yes. He can carry the ball. He can relieve pressure off them. And that won't necessarily be shown in the numbers that everyone likes to get excited about when it comes to attacking players.
But what is going on?
And the second thing is just, he's won loads of stuff. And he's a glamorous player that younger players will look up to. And he's, by all accounts, a really good lad as well. And I think that'll help out as well, because I think players will look up to him. They'll be inspired by him if he's engaged and he wants to do it. I do think we'll see him start games, particularly at home. I just think, like I say, you can't read an awful lot into the opening weekend of the season on this kind of stuff.
No. Now, let's turn our attention to another team in blue. They played last night and they were battered by Club Brugge. Rangers beaten 3-1 by the Belgian side in the Champions League playoff round. Russell Martin's having a stinker.
I couldn't be enjoying this more. I'll be honest with you. I have to be honest. I have to be honest to our listeners.
He's had a holidays
refresh. What camera am I on that one? I've got to be honest to you, right? He's taken.
When are you not honest?
He's taken the dirty Southampton coin.
Yeah.
He's forever tainted.
Yep.
I never want to see him do well. Yep. It's funny how bad they were. Chris Boyd on the Sky Sports News comms was said it's the worst 45 minutes he's ever seen at Ibrox. Come on, it's funny.
Does he not remember when they got battered by Liverpool?
Take it up with him.
All right.
Don't shoot the messenger.
Take it up with him.
Okay.
Yeah, I think Russell Martin was a really exciting, like his philosophy was really interesting because he was implementing this possession-based style in the lower leagues and doing it quite well. Yeah. Places like MK Don, and earning his move up to Southampton and then coming to the Premier League. But the moment you go to Southampton, don't expect anything from me.
It's very similar
I hope it gets worse.
Vish?
Well, it's very similar to the Ruben Amorim stuff last season, isn't it? It's like, great. Love that you've got a philosophy. Really good. It's not only endearing, but it's nice to see that you're trying to spread this way of playing.
Endearing.
You have to work with your squad, though.
Yeah.
You have to work with the players at your disposal.
I mean,
he's essentially, at the moment, from what I've seen, he's operating in a world as he wants it to be rather than how it is. And whatever style you want to play, Vish, however your philosophy informs how you coach, I don't want to sound like Graham Souness, but he makes this point, and I think it's a good point he makes. If you don't do the basics right, you don't snap into every tackle. You don't
totally.
in European football, particularly against a team who've got Champions League experience, and you defend like that. It doesn't matter how you play.
Yeah.
The fact that that goal, their first goal they conceded, that's nothing to do with playing a possession-based style.
Well, it's quite the opposite.
Exactly.
No one wanted the ball.
Exactly.
I know what you mean, I think. I mean, look, Rangers fans aren't going to thank me for mentioning Ange Postecoglou's name, but even Spurs changed their style a bit last season in European competition. Do you know what I mean?
And won a trophy.
I mean, I think that's the thing with Rangers at the moment. They've started the season poorly. I mean, they drew their first two league games and they conceded 2 against Scottish League One side Alloa Athletic in the League Cup. Was it on the weekend? And Alloa were getting praised for how well they played. So suddenly, Ibrox is not a fortress anymore. Blah 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 blah. But in European competition, in the previous round, they got through and fair play. But in that second leg away, was it in the Czech Republic? They were poor and they were hanging on. And a lot of people were saying, all right, fair enough, you got through the tie. You're against Club Brugge now, or Bruges, as we affectionately call them. That's a proper team who know their way around European football a bit more. What are you going to do? And as Luke's saying, there doesn't seem to be a hint of pragmatism about Russell Martin. And people, again, they often think, pragmatism is just long ball or it's, disappointing tactics. Bollocks. It's just not. It doesn't have to be that.
It's not as binary as that, is it?
No, completely.
Yeah.
People get mixed up about that. Particularly, I find it all the time when they talk about Pep Guardiola and how he likes to play.
Yeah.
Like they think, that means that no player is ever allowed to put the ball out for a throw-in or a corner. It doesn't mean that.
No.
It doesn't mean that. And I think there's an element to this. I think early signs. We're not going to try and tar him with the Paul Le Guen brush just yet. He's only been there for like 6 or 7 months or something, and it was a bit of a disaster.
Good old Paulie.
But the thing you have to guard against if you're a manager who's managing the Premier League, listen, Russell Martin managing the Premier League for a very short amount of time and wasn't very good at doing it, but he has been a Premier League manager. I feel like, and I think some Scottish football fans feel like this as well, there's this idea that you can quote unquote settle back into Rangers or Celtic, and all you've got to do is worry about them not down the road and everything else will take care of itself. That's not the case. No. And it never really has been the case. And Martin needs to come up to speed quickly because it's going to get harder and harder.
Do you know what could be worse? There's a little rumour going around that Jamie Vardy might want a reunion with Brendan Rodgers.
Oh.
Is that the last thing the old firm tinderbox needs.
Yeah.
You mean just Glasgow as a city?
Yeah. Exactly, yeah. Vardy. All right, yeah. How do I wind up the fans? Oh, right, okay.
You've been watching YouTube videos of Paul Gascoigne again.
Oh, bloody hell.
Yeah. You started it. He does this all the time.
No, that would be the other way.
It was the other way around, but the example still stands.
Right, okay.
I'm sure he can think of a way of interpreting it himself.
Yeah.
I think we need to go
instead of Skittles and Red Bull, it'd be Skittles and Buckfast.
It's the Marcus way. He takes you to the precipice, right? Then he tells you off for going over the precipice, and then he hits a break. And everyone forgets about it, and he's the good guy again. Pathetic.
Coming up after this, Isak speaks out, and Sir Gareth Southgate wins a big award. Up yours, everybody.
One group of fans I wouldn't want to go anywhere near. Here we go. Did you hear that? What did you say? Do I have to apologise? One group of fans I won't want to go anywhere near.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. That was Gary Neville on that hot mic. Now, the PFA Awards happened last night. Mo Salah won Player of the Year. No surprises there. Morgan Rogers won Young Player of the Year. Go on, Rog.
Good old Rogie.
Happy about that.
Yeah.
And former England boss Sir Gareth Southgate won the PFA Merit Award.
What's that?
Hey,
What does that even mean?
What is it?
Well, you've got to win it on merit.
Yeah.
Whereas the other ones just handed to you.
Do you know what it means?
Yeah.
Do you want to share that, or is that for Uncut as well?
Oh, don't you know?
What? Before we move on, talk about the obvious story we're going to talk about.
It's nice to see Sir Gareth.
It's lovely to see Sir Gareth.
Yep.
Obviously.
He's still at every game. He was in the cricket.
Was he?
He's
He
everywhere.
loves the cricket.
I know.
He's enjoying his life.
Yeah.
He's not working at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, no, he might have got a little job with, was it UEFA or something?
The Ramble social team should 100% do that meme this week for Marcus, where they go, "Thank you for changing my life," and it says, "I'm literally just Sir Gareth Southgate to Marcus."
Yeah.
That would do well.
Anyway,
I was going to say that.
Yeah.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, it's absolutely bonkers that these awards are happening now.
I did think that.
Basically, the day after
it's
the
early
first weekend of the Premier League season.
It's early
We've all
days
moved
giving
on.
player of the season out.
Right,
Isn't it?
have you
I
enjoyed-
think it's squeezed by the schedule, isn't it? Because football is so stupid that teams are going away on post-season tours, and then you kind of want to give them the summer.
They also voted on it, as they always do,
In January
2 months
or
before
something
the end of the season, because the reason for that apparently is because they couldn't get the players to do it at the end of the season because they all go off on holiday.
Just do an online poll.
It's a pointless thing. If you're going to do it properly.
Yeah, I'd say so. Well, the big news of the night was, of course,
The second biggest news of the night. Gareth Southgate was the big news of the night.
Correct. Sorry, yeah, you're absolutely right to correct me there. It, of course, surrounding Alexander Isak. He was named in the PFA team of the season, but he didn't attend the ceremony. He then explained his absence on Instagram. I'm sure a lot of you have seen this, but if you haven't, the statement said this: "I'm proud to be recognised by my fellow professionals with a place in the PFA Premier League team of the season for 2024-2025. First and foremost, I want to thank my teammates and everyone at Newcastle United who has supported me along the way. I'm not at the ceremony tonight with everything that's going on. It didn't feel right to be there. I've kept quiet for a long time."
Oh,
Yeah.
Channeling.
Using their own flow,
Yeah.
bar for bar, word for word.
While others have spoken. That silence has allowed people to push their own version of events, even though they know it doesn't reflect what was really said and agreed behind closed doors. The reality is that promises were made and the club has known my position for a long time. To now act as if these issues are only emerging is misleading. When promises are broken and trust is lost, the relationship can't continue.
Is that ABBA?
Sounds a bit
Yeah.
like it. Or
Yeah.
Taylor Swift.
Yeah.
That's where things are for me right now, and why change is in the best interests of everyone, not just myself.
Let's be fair though, mostly yourself. Yeah.
So, I mean, there was chat, wasn't there, with the Isak stuff, that all these ideas, there were promises made and so on and so forth, which people then interpret to be that if a big, or specifically Liverpool, come in for you, then you're free to go. Or there was talk about being offered a bigger contract last summer, wasn't there? That Amanda Staveley apparently had suggested that. Then of course she leaves and other people come in. So
And there are various different clauses that have, in similar situations have been either literally club specific or competition specific.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of speculating about what these promises might be.
Indeed. And unless you're there for the chats and you've seen all this sort of stuff, it's very, very difficult to kind of say one way or the other. And indeed, even if you were privy to all this information, it may not be a case of it's 100% this person's fault or 100%. You know how it works. But I don't think anybody can deny that Isak hasn't particularly handled himself very well.
I hate a transfer saga unless someone's going to be a hot mess in the middle of it. And this is early signs of Alex Isak being a hot mess. And I think it's only going to intensify as the transfer window closing gets closer and closer. And I can't wait to see what happens next, because Isak put it on Instagram. And then Newcastle responded with an official statement.
They did.
And which I'm sure you're going to come on to. But on the Isak thing, you say, he's not handling himself very well. I think it depends how you look at it. I think, if you are a player who strongly feels, or your interpretation of the situation is one way, and I'm not saying he does or he doesn't, but he honestly feels that's how it should be, and he feels like they've gone back on that, it's kind of difficult to see how else he could respond.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not defending necessarily all the behaviour, but if you're in any kind of situation like that and you feel like something's been promised to you and then it's been taken away, I don't think you're necessarily, I feel like it's reasonable to be like, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, but I think there's ways of doing that, though.
Well, how, though? What are they?
Well, not buggering off and then saying, right, I'm not a part of this, see you later, bye, because I don't think that's going to do him any good. And I think I think for the player himself.
But the club, sorry to cut in, but the club then would just be like, well, if he's going to crack on anyway, we'll just wait till the end of the month. And then he has to stay.
Indeed.
Just wait it out.
I think for Isak, that this kind of stuff will happen quite a lot in football that you're not privy to. And I think that the way Isak's handling himself, the fans have now turned against him, and he will feel like the whole football world is against him because he's essentially isolated himself. And I understand he's done that because he wants the promises to be actioned upon, or he wants his move, whatever it is. And I just don't think, even if, again, I was privy to the conversations and I thought, actually, I think I'm siding with Isak here. I don't think this kind of behaviour, although understandable, is particularly wise.
To me, it feels, I don't know what you feel about it, Vish, but like I talked about it a few weeks ago when I was mentioning the Man United players who clearly feel like they're surplus to requirements, Garnacho and one or two others. And I was confused as to why, and I think this applies to the Isak situation as well. I am confused as to why, and I think it's probably because they're so in hock to their agent. They let their agent do so much for them instead. They don't take the ball by the horns, maybe. But to me, it feels at least partly straightforward enough for Isak to have a meeting with the team at Newcastle and sit down with them and say definitively, I will never play for you again. I'm never going back on that. I'm never, ever going to play for you again. So with that in mind, can we please work together to see how this resolves itself? And take a bit of the power back that way. And then Newcastle are much more up against it in terms of having to do something.
But it's a game of cards then, Luke, because I understand.
But it's a game of cards anyway.
Yeah, it is, but that is particually extreme.
Maybe he has said that.
Well, perhaps, but I mean, he pretty much is. I mean, that is what he's saying.
But Newcastle are under no illusions that if they are going to keep Isak by the end of the month, they have to do it by force. And he's under no illusions that if he wants to leave, he has to do it by force.
Well, yeah.
And I thought actually him not attending the PFA Awards, which was flagged, I think maybe 24 hours before the actual event.
Yeah.
I thought, you know what, that's quite smart. Lay low. There's no need for you to go on the red carpet.
With your Liverpool shirt on.
I don't give a damn.
Little red pocket square. There's no reason to go on the red carpet and give even like a 2-minute quote that's going to skew you further. And then it releases that statement. It's like, oh, what have you done? No one is asking for a comment from someone who's made Team of the Year. And he's just seen it as an opportunity to, I suppose, put his... In what he feels sincerely, and we'll take it at face value, and we might be meeting him more than halfway in that, but he feels sincerely that he hasn't been heard, that his side has not been put across.
Yeah.
I mean, it clearly has. That's how briefings work. I think his issue comes from the fact that the club have been doing similar and have ready access to journalists, and they're basically just putting their side across, and that side is being reported. But obviously, we kind of understand, we fully understand where both parties are at this juncture. And he, as Luke referred to him earlier, as a hot mess, we are getting into that hot mess phase of he's already thrown the toys out of the pram. He might just flip the pram now.
Yeah.
But I think the reason he's come out with it, because you alluded to it there, but he didn't expressly state it, is because a lot of the media has been under the impression that he suddenly decided he wanted to go. And he's saying, no, I said this before. Because on this show a few weeks ago, I think it was Jim saying...
Saying he's left it late.
Yeah, why has he left it so late? So he wants to put that record straight and say, actually, I've been saying this for a while and I've been respectful. I've not come out and said it publicly, but we all know that I wanted to move. And then Liverpool's sitting there rubbing their hands because they've already put a bid in for him. It's been rejected.
There's reports that they may up that by 10 million and Newcastle want 150 million.
But they're probably not going to feel like they have to up it too much because it's an absolute dumpster fire.
Well, it is.
Something's got to give, and it doesn't have to be us.
Well, the Newcastle statement, which I'll kind of just go through quickly here, they said, Alex remains under contract. No commitment has ever been made by a club official that he can leave Newcastle United this summer. We want to keep our best players, obviously, and as explained to Alex and his representatives, must always take into account the consideration of the best interests of Newcastle United, the team and the supporters in all decisions, and we've been clear that conditions of a sale this summer have not transpired. We do not foresee those conditions being met. This is a proud football club with proud traditions, and we strive to retain our family feel. Alex remains part of our family and will be welcome back when he is ready to rejoin his teammates. Now, it's easy for the club, in one sense, to kind of say that, but the club are aware, obviously, of this situation. Newcastle United fans will see that, and once again, all the ill feeling and all the negativity is then shoved on to the player. And that's why, whatever you may believe, Isak, to me, has made himself a bit of an outcast now. And has attracted an enormous amount of, let's say, unwanted attention. He will have his reasons for that, and again, I understand it, but I just don't think that is good for an individual to have all this. The problem is if indeed the window shuts, what is he going to do? I'm not going to play football. Well, that doesn't serve him well either.
He's not going to play till January, I guess. And also, I mean, as it is at the moment, is a little factor in that, even if he does go, because he's not going to be match fit at the moment. Because he's not been playing.
Well, and that's what I mean. So to me, this is just all incredibly unfortunate and regrettable stuff.
I bloody love it.
And
I'm telling you, I'm really enjoying it.
It's good for the ramble, etc., etc.
Yeah, exactly.
So more of this. I'm going to have a fist fight with it. No, I don't.
I'm against transfer sagas when they're boring, and I'm for it.
Well, this has been ramped up, but look, with I mean, again, there are different ways of doing this. Now, I understand. Every situation and every player should be taken on a case-by-case basis. But I always go back to João Palhinha when he played for Fulham. And he went to Munich. He held up the Bayern Munich jersey. He was pictured in it. And the conditions were, if we can find a replacement for you, then fine, you can go. And there he was, holding up the jersey, photos taken, all the rest of it. And then the club said, really sorry, but we haven't found a replacement, so back you come, big boy. And what did he do? He came back, he put in a hell of a shift, and he got his move to Spurs. He got a loan move to Spurs.
Be warned, Isak.
Yeah, exactly. So...
Yeah, all's well that ends well.
Yes, indeed. Indeed. Have you seen, moving on from one striker to another, Yoane Wissa's done a little bit of a zigzag, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He was left out of Brentford's matchday squad at the weekend, and he's unfollowed Brentford on Instagram. He's changed his profile picture to black and removed all club photos from his account.
It'd be really funny if he's just been hacked.
Yeah. I mean, this is like proper teenage stuff. This.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Oh, Vish, what do you reckon?
No longer in a relationship with.
Yeah, it's complicated. It's complicated.
I love it. Yeah, I do, because obviously one of the things that players are very aware of is basically the current or the ever-changing state of fandom. And whether it's tracking flights or tracking who follows who or who likes what on social media, he done this in a very... very not even that really calculating, but he's done it for a reason, and it serves the purpose of alerting everyone to the idea that, look, almost without having to put out the Isak statement, that there were promises made to me as well, and everyone's like, well, chill out, mate. We'll do with one at a time.
Yeah, but I think it's partly because this come up because Wissa believed that as soon as Brentford signed Dango Ouattara, he'd be able to go. And they have signed Dango Ouattara now.
Yeah, I mean, that was fairly recent, wasn't it? But as in, like, really in the last 48 hours. But
good business from Brentford, though.
Yeah, no, it is.
This is all just about price, though, surely.
Yeah, I also think this would be a really neat fit for Newcastle.
Yeah, but there's some are suggesting, though.
It's nice to get, we don't want any individuals who don't want to be here, who don't know the value of loyalty, who are disrespectful to a club's ethos.
But someone said,
Come on in, Yoane Wissa.
someone said Wissa's the replacement for Wilson.
Right.
Yeah, that kind of makes sense as well.
But I can't. I mean,
you could play both. You could play both, as in you could play whoever they would pick as their first choice, number 9, and Wissa in the same team, I believe.
Oh, but yeah.
I think that's probably fair. Yeah,
he's that good. I mean, it'd be a sickener though if he went there and Isak went, all right,
Yeah.
I'm staying.
Well, Isak's probably doing his nuts seeing Ekatike score every week as well.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all linked, isn't it?
He's not even an out-and-out front man.
He's not even a permanent member of the front line.
Good win, but if you want goals, you should have come to me.
Yeah, should have done. Well, we'll see what happens with
Brentford.
Brentford.
I haven't had a chance. Maybe it's just me not having a chance to talk about it. But I mean, that is an absolute last chopper out of Saigon stuff from Wissa as well. Have you seen the play? If Wissa leaves, which we expect him to, they'd have lost. Brentford in this summer would have lost their captain. 44 of the 66 Premier League goals they scored last season. Yeah, and their first choice goalkeeper, and signed Jordan Henderson.
Yeah.
Well,
you're making the set piece coach manager. Yeah. Right.
Don't worry though, because the manager's never managed a first team job before.
And he looks a bit like the late Dustin Diamond.
He looks great, Keith Andrews. He's a very, very handsome fella.
A little bit Screech Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, he is. But I think if Screech from Saved by the Bell, God rest him, had been put through a handsome filter.
Yeah.
It's Keith Andrews. And also Keith Andrews' accent makes him more attractive.
Yeah, I think
100%.
so. Yeah, I think we can all agree.
But they're getting relegated. It'd be the most handsome manager in the Championship.
Well,
no, he won't. Oh, Rob Edwards at Middlesbrough.
True. And also, I mean, Keith Andrews will be long gone by the time we get to the Championship. Let's be absolutely fair. They're just not going to stick with him with a rock bottom of the table all season, are they?
He'll have moved on.
Get Russell Martin back.
I just wanted to make sure we were talking about Dustin Diamond there. And when you say he's long gone, he'd be different.
Yeah, that's really important. It's good for younger listeners to then go on the internet, Google Dustin Diamond, and be shocked by the way he completely fell off after Saved by the Bell.
Do you think
the only thing that he was famous for, which finished in the late 90s?
Do you know why? Because Thomas Frank was the producer of Saved by the Bell, and I'm getting.
Do you think the new visual setup will really help us on YouTube? Not really, because the host just talks about fucking Saved by the Bell. I don't know what algorithm that's serving.
Mine.
Yeah, your own.
So we put this through a filter and we have the black and white and the fuzz on the side.
It should
and it just goes
sepia.
From scene to scene.
Yeah, it's like Pathé.
Yeah.
Marcus goes on a trip down memory lane again.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
Newcastle, though, are also looking at Wolves striker Jorgen Strand-Larsen, and I thought
he literally just signed for them.
Yeah, I know. I found that hilarious.
Permanent deal about 3 weeks ago.
Wolves are thinking, we've lost a few players, but at least Strand-Larsen put in a shift and scored a few. What? No, don't. No. We've, as you say, literally decided. Imagine that. Talking about the cherry picking of bigger sides and so on. I don't know. I mean, clearly that's one of the problems for Newcastle is that not getting so many players in. They thought, well, we can't sell Isak because we're just simply not going to find a replacement. And you saw how blunt they were. Well, they were a bit blunt against Aston Villa. I mean, they created some chances, but didn't score.
Yeah, which is why I think your Palhinha comparison makes total sense. Actually, Newcastle, in some ways, have shown willing by trying to get other strikers through the door.
Yeah.
Which would open the door, which would leave the door open for Isak to walk through.
But that is a big part of it, I think, as well. Yeah, definitely. They have signed someone, though. Someone else, we should say, because they have made some signings, obviously, Elanga being the obvious one. But they've completed the signing of Jacob Ramsey from Aston Villa for initial 39 million plus a further 4 million in add-ons, as we have to say these days. I mean, you have to say it's because a part of me was like, why has Ramsey gone there? It's a bit of a sidestep, but no, it's a clearly step up because he'll be playing Champions League football again. Yeah, because he played that for Aston Villa last time round. So a decent signing for Newcastle. It's nice to see that somebody wants to go and join the Magpies.
Yes, yeah. I reckon he's still I don't know if you saw, but a lot of the not just the statement that he put out, but a lot of the reaction from Villa fans and Villa players, past and present, was clearly that's probably the one encouragement. I think he's an excellent player. I think he does a lot of very good things through the middle. I think he will improve them as well. But just seeing all the reaction to people talking about how good a teammate he is and how nice he is, it's like, we're getting a good egg as well. Yes. Never a guarantee in football, but that is also an encouraging thing. Yeah, especially in light of what's been going on there with Isak. Yeah, well, to a point, yeah. To a point. Then we've got to talk about that point. It's a very modern transfer, isn't it? I know we're going to talk about it and the PSR connotations of it tomorrow, but it's a very modern transfer. Yes, it is. Do you know what I mean by that? Like, I do. Just just homegrown this and a lot of money for that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, as Luke says, talk more about. But a good Premier League operator, though, by the way. Very much. But we'll talk more about the PSR implications and fair reaction to this news on tomorrow's pod. You're going to get Thursday thrill at the Football Ramble. Yes, absolutely. A Thursday thrum. Well, coming up after this. Thursday thrust? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I knew you'd be on board with that. Yeah. I just want you to be a bit more explicit. Okay. Coming up after this. Thursday thumb up the bum. Not that explicit. Coming up after. There's a happy medium. Okay. Coming up after this.
I'm going to get to the end of this bleeding sentence because we hear more about the Lambton Worm. Right, everybody. After Sunderland beat West Ham United 3-0 on the weekend, we spoke about it, and we spoke about Sunderland in glowing terms, of course, on Monday's podcast.
I just love that Pete getting called. Pete getting slagged off as a quote Mackham on the YouTube comments.
Don't give it away. Vish and I were unaware of what the tifo at the stadium were like actually was.
Yeah, I was as well. It's great to get the explanation.
But Pete explained to us that it is...
Did we get the explanation?
Not really.
Well, I still feel...
explanation.
I still feel I'm unaware of what it actually is.
Yeah.
Pete then sort of chimed in and he called me, he disrespected the county that I'm from, called me a bastard, disrespecting my parents who were married at the time I was born. And he said that the Lambton Worm was this tale from the northeast.
A folk tale. A northeastern folk tale.
Exactly where...
He said it was a folk tale about salamander.
Yeah, a salamander. And then he talked about a worm. And he may have mentioned the word snake. I can't remember. But basically, what was it? A chap. There was the Lambton Worm.
The way Pete told the story.
Yes.
There was a bloke who went fishing in the weir.
That's right.
He caught a salamander, not a worm.
No.
Brought it back, put it in a well, went off to fight the Crusades. Came back. It had taken over his manor.
That's right.
He saw a witch.
Yes.
Who said that you've got to kill the worm, but once you kill the worm, you've got to kill the next thing you see. He told his dad to release the dog so that after he killed the worm salamander, he'd kill the dog.
Yes.
And then when he killed the worm salamander, his dad ran up saying, brilliant.
Yeah, nice
and
one.
In Pete's story,
Straight to the pub.
And in Pete's story, he said, oh no, so he killed his dad.
Yeah.
Didn't happen, did it?
Yeah.
No.
So that
well, none of it happened.
Totally missed the point of the tale.
And I was listening, knowing Pete as I do, thinking he's researched this as well.
Yeah, exactly. He really took the salamander by the horns there, didn't he? We've had a lot of follow-up.
Yeah. And that really does warm the heart because I'll tell you what, we can do 10, 15 minutes on what I think is a really well-researched, thoughtful bit on, on a Champions League game or
James Tarkowski penalty decision.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Everyone's like, fine.
Nothing. It's dead. It's absolutely dead.
You mentioned the Lambton Worm and you get the story wrong.
Inundated.
Yeah.
Can I kick off the clarifications with this, which came immediately after we released the episode, and it was a comment from Nicholas Wilson on X, who said, he called him some little lad. It was Lord Lambton.
Little lad.
After Pete's story, a lot of people, Stibsart on YouTube got in touch to tell us that Pete got the story wrong. The boy didn't kill his dad. He killed the dog and the family got 10 years of bad luck.
Yeah.
So he did kill the dog, apparently.
Yeah, but he saw his dad first, which is why, having not...
He couldn't go through with killing his dad. That's the point.
Well, indeed, and which is a massive point.
The whole point is the bad luck.
But what is the point of any of it? Because that's the one thing I'm not sure about. The folk tales have normally got some kind of moral to the story.
Yeah.
Don't go fishing in the River Weir.
That's what it is.
Don't get your Lambton caught.
Yeah. Because do you understand what I mean, though? There's normally a moral to the story.
Yeah.
And there's not a moral to this. It's
weird that in the retelling of his story, Pete left out the morals.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
By staying loyal to your family, you're going to get bad luck. That's the... Well, Solomon on YouTube, incredibly, said, Pete missed the part about the worm wrapping itself around the hill in Penshaw. That's why the hill has those distinct grooves. A detail, perhaps, that wasn't necessary in the story, but good to know that, Solomon.
It's good to know the number of things that Pete missed out.
Yes. Vinyl Horror on YouTube replied, I prefer the way it was told in the episode. The dad definitely had it coming.
Yeah. My favourite was we got a listener called Mimi on X.
Yes.
Drew her own comic strip of Pete's version of the Lambton Worm story. This is what I'm saying. People really go the extra mile when it comes to this type of stuff. Great, They're not interested in the football stuff, and that's why we'll never get anywhere.
Yep.
But the comic strip appears to display. Well, I say it's like an interpretation of Pete's, but it's basically a sequel, an imagined sequel to Pete's Lambton Worm story.
Yeah.
So it's got Marcus in it, but he was originally called in the story because she screenshotted the pencil drawings.
Yeah.
I like the fact that she's got Marcus in it, but she labelled him initially as Little Marcus and then scrubbed out the little.
Because you're a boy.
Yeah. In the story, Pete's the worm, which is great.
Yep.
That's a big twist. And Marcus watches Pete the worm go into the well.
I thought, I'm not having that.
The well then transforms into like a fully operational castle.
Well, because he takes over. Because in the real story and the Pete story, he takes over the manor.
Yeah,
you know, by the way, that all these details that we're stumbling upon now, there will be some people listening to this going, "Oh, you're getting it wrong."
Fucked it again. Yeah, I don't mind that.
Yeah, we'll get in touch.
That's more content for next week.
There
Isn't
you
it?
are, you see.
Then like a witch appears
Yeah.
with a poster in her hand that says "Kill Pete" on it.
Yeah.
It's not the first time that's happened.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
And then the witch also says to Marcus, "You must kill what you see first after slaying Pete." Marcus, you then in the story,
Yes.
think about killing Vish, who for some reason is a small dog in the comic.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not killing
based
Vish.
on Mimi's Chihuahua, which
Yeah.
was a rescue. She
Right.
sent us a
Okay,
photo of the Chihuahua.
Yeah.
Okay, so the short kings are dominating this. Marcus then slays.
Easier to draw.
Marcus then kills Pete, which I've actually seen him closer to in the past. Then Jim pops up out of nowhere, which then means that Marcus has to kill Jim.
You'll do.
And but the final square of the cartoon is just Vish as a dog eating popcorn.
Yeah.
With a crown, yeah.
You're the king.
Yeah.
You're the king. The short king.
The dog king.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway.
dear. So there we are. I think that tidies all that up.
Yeah.
And staying with this, with some correspondence. How about this from Ben on email? Now he's responding to this idea that Mexico is now behind Sunderland. If you remember that there was an official Twitter account on X. Yeah, I was certainly going. It's not on Twitter, is it? And saying that Mexico is all behind Sunderland in the Premier League this year. And Ben says, having travelled around Mexico this year, I ended up following the closing stages of their league and becoming particularly fond of mid-table side Chivas, the Goats. I even got to watch the Guadalajara derby between Chivas and Atlas whilst in the city. They play in red and white stripes, and I decided to buy a shirt to remember my time out there. When I returned to the UK, I moved to Newcastle for work, and one day went for a run around the beautiful Jesmond Dean in my new kit. We passed a group of about 30 local teenagers smoking the old wacky backy
The devil's lettuce. Eh?
and drinking illegally.
Partaking of the herbaceous clippings, were they, Marcus?
Well, according to Ben, they were.
Drinking illegally, though. Important to point that out.
Yeah.
In Newcastle, who'd have thought it? Anywhere in the UK.
As soon as they saw us, one lad shouted, "You're just a sad Mackham bastard." I did my best to inform them that I was actually quite happy and have no affinity with the team or city of Sunderland. It's safe to say I will not be wearing that shirt around the Toon anytime soon, and I hope this story acts as a deterrent for any Chivas fans visiting the city.
I mean, to basically cut quite a long story short, Ben, with respect, you've run around Newcastle with a red and white striped shirt on and been quite annoyed you've got a lot of stick.
Yeah. Well, I would say a little amount of stick. From some hoodlums.
Yeah.
So you should never listen.
They'd be a bit more chilled out.
You should never listen. Never listen to the hoodlums. You know.
They're on the old devil's lettuce. They should be more chilled.
Yeah, or street urchins, as I believe Vish calls them.
Yeah. Street urchins?
Yeah, someone said that once, and I thought that's incredibly snobby, but quite creative at the same time. Yeah. Elsewhere in Mexico, Pete mentioned on Tuesday's mailbag that Alan San-Maximan has joined Mexican side Club America. He's been given special dispensation by Liga MX to wear the number 97, as he isn't considered a basic force player.
I assume this is some kind of translation.
Must be. Well, basic force players are only allowed to wear numbers 1 to 40.
Okay.
So that's clearly...
Why are they called basic force players, though?
Is that why ICE agents have their numbers above 40?
Must be.
Right,
Sergio Ramos was also given special permission to wear the number 93.
Yeah, I think he does what he wants, really.
Evidently.
The Alan San-Maximan career arc is quite a curious one.
Yeah.
Because he was very, very popular at Newcastle, right? And I might have remembered this wrong, but he moved to the Middle East presumably because he wanted loads of money. And you'd have thought that once he got bored of that, which he did about a year later, he'd go somewhere, with respect to Club America, he'd go somewhere in a major league and because he only, was he 27 years old, something like that? He's
well,
not old.
28. Yeah.
28, yeah.
Yeah, but
and he went to Fenerbahce on loan for a bit.
Yeah.
And then now he's ended up in Mexico. Now, I'm sure the Mexican league is of a good start. I'll never watch it. So
there's a bit of money in the Mexican league as well.
Yeah, $12 million he went there for, apparently, the fee.
Right.
So I just think it's a weird career arc.
I think it's a lovely old time. You start at Saint Etienne, you have a couple of years in Monaco, you spend a few years at Nice, you be adored. You go to Newcastle fans, treated like a god, basically.
Yeah.
And adored. And then
now you're in Mexico.
Cash in. Now you're in Mexico,
Yeah. I mean, maybe he enjoyed it. Maybe he's all about the cuisine in Turkey. He's thinking, "Oh, this is pretty good. Where else do I go now?" And he's thinking,
I wonder which side of the bridge he hung out.
Yeah, he's like, nah. Yeah,
it's a really good point actually, because Mexican food would be sensational.
Yeah. Because I mean, the Lebanese league, it's not really happening. Brazilian, I mean, you could get your rodízio, but he's thinking, you know what, Mexico.
You've been to Mexico. I always imagine Mexico would be quite a mix of different cultures because of the different. the different offshoots of like fusion cuisine that have Mexican food as a staple.
You can't get a fry up there, mate, if you're asking.
We're getting a bit close to talking about the new series of The Bear again here, aren't we?
No, but I'm saying that like he would be eating and drinking brilliantly, won't he?
It is fabulous.
What
there you
go. What would Anthony Bourdain say? Where would he eat?
He's dead.
I know he is. Yeah, he's just listen. Right. Just fucking watch Ratatouille and go for a walk. You boring food.
Why are you talking?
Not you. I mean people.
Right.
People.
Yeah,
people.
Yeah. And why do cornflakes often taste different abroad? Sort it out.
Mexican Coke. Mexican Coke made with the purest of cane sugar.
Yeah. Fine, I'm not into Coca-Cola, so yeah.
What? Yeah, no, come on.
Really?
Come on.
I just don't bother.
Get onto the Tom Brady bit. Let's move on.
Yeah, it's all about Fanta, as you well know. Yeah. Now, after let's finish with this. After Grock told us that Tom Brady would win in a fight against Wayne Rooney,
which I'm not having, by the way.
I think we needed a second opinion. And Paul on Spotify got in touch to deliver ChatGPT's verdict. And here it is. In a straight-up physical scrap, Rooney probably has the edge.
Probably.
Yeah.
Has the edge in raw toughness, stamina, and actual experience with real confrontations. That last bit is brilliant, and you know it's true. Brady would have a size advantage, but less of a fighter's background. So there we go. I think that's a good summation, and it means that Rooney would do him. And I hope he does after those comments.
I absolutely love this matchup. I was so gutted to not be on the show when this matchup came along because it is like a proper. You know how much I love a boxing analogy.
Oh yeah,
it is like a proper clash of styles.
Yes,
you've got the kind of really well drilled, probably 300-400 fights in the amateurs.
Yeah.
Great jab, Tom Brady.
Who would you?
Great footwork, and you've got the absolute street brawler of Wayne Rooney.
Rooney would fuse Mike Tyson and Butterbean.
Yeah, I like that.
Do you know what I mean?
I like that.
Brady, I was struggling to think.
To me, it's like the Gatti Ward trilogy.
Gatti, yeah.
It's like the Gatti Ward trilogy. But I like Wayne Rooney to take this down to the trenches early on in the early rounds.
Yeah.
And really get right under Tom Brady's chin.
Yeah.
And if he can bypass Brady's jab and get on his chest and take it into deep water, I think Rooney knocks him out late. You don't need ChatGPT. I've thought about this. You don't need some computer. Rooney will knock Brady out late. I'm telling you. Brady won't fancy it.
Yeah. But as someone, as maybe it was Vish or Pete said, that there is potential evidence of Rooney having a glass jaw with the whole Phil Barsley thing.
But don't underrate Barsley's punch power.
True enough. Yeah. Also as well,
to be fair, Wayne Rooney was pissed. Wayne Rooney's doing a 3 month.
What makes you think that?
Rooney's doing a 3 month training camp for this. This is a big prize fight. He's preparing properly for this.
I'm
HBO 24/7 shit.
Rooney gets on Brady's chest and he knocks him out late. That's all you need to know.
Yeah. Or Brady knocks him down, and in the event of that, Rooney just chews out his Achilles heel.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be lovely.
And Rooney's having tabs in between each round.
Yeah.